Hi everyone, it's Bev Code at the Rubber Buggy, and today we are going to be doing some cards together. We are going to start with what I call the easier type, and eventually we will work our way up. For cards, you can use basic cardstock to make your bases and make your own envelopes, or make your card bases to fit envelopes that you purchase. Or you can buy packages of both square and rectangular bases that have matching envelopes. I prefer to have these in stock, regular card bases and envelopes to work with, but when you're custom doing something, you might want to change the size and then you adapt. I just wanted to share that not only do you do layers and use many accents and flowers, trims, doilies, laces, ribbons, it is just never ending what you can put on a card. And I just wanted to also mention that for any of those that are stampers and inkers and also Copic coloring, there is nothing nicer than to get a cute image and make a card. This one's very plain, but it's a cute image, a super fun. Actually, this is printed on the computer in mass numbers and then cut to use. This one has some fun print in the background. It has matting on the accent, sentiment, and the cute image, but that's what I call very plain, and you can be doing all kinds of different things. The other thing is, it's the same thing if you have, just let me grab a few things here. If you have awesome stickers, these ones happen to be Paper House from when I was on the design team, and I have them left over. So for a guy's card with all the muted, fun beige, cream, black colorings would make a fabulous card. So like I said, it is just endless what you can be doing with cards and what to use and how to make them. The other thing, these are very plain. I just want to share. Just let me get it out of here so it isn't so shiny coming through the plastic. There's a lot of card makers out there. Some of us make cards and we try and sell them, and we package them in nice little baggies. So for this one, this is where I said they can be plain, detailed. I mean, it's endless. This one and the next one, I just wanted to share, is very plain, but it's using dies. So any of you that have dies to die cut beautiful things and put borders, and could be putting layers and die cutting and adding a sentiment. Here's another one that's still in the package, and it's the gold and black, and it's very elegant, but it has both the border, the trim in the background, plus this beautiful butterfly in the gold. So like I said, there's just so many options. Hi Vicky, so many options when you're making cards. These are just very plain rectangular or square cards, and then once we get going, there are so many different styles: tri-shutter, multi-fold, pop-up. There's just so many. We will do what I call one of the easier ones today, after we do what I'm calling a plainer base card to start. So with that in mind, and I have lots of fun things on my desk again today. A lot of it is left over from yesterday, and I just brought out a whole bunch more and added to it. So basically, I'm going to put these aside for now. There we go. And for this card, I'm going to grab, now this is where you can adapt and decide what you would like to do. My main intent on my first one is to be working with some things that I happen to have. So I am starting with a square base. I have a doily. I grabbed a chipboard, and using some papers from the Mintay Suntastic Collection that has fabulous cutouts, but I really liked the accent sheet and the frames, and I pulled out both the floral and the backside. I love all of this in the collection. So this first one I'm going to be working with is grabbing paper that has coordinates that come with it. And if you don't, then you can just go to your stash and look for accents. But for this one, I want to do a background. I think I'm going to be adding some white cardstock. I also have my doily, and I have found one of the little tag type accents, and I want to cut it to fit. And I'm going to play with the doily and the 2 sheets of paper. And I think we're going to add some pearls, which, if I can ever even find them on my desk. Oh, here we go. I found some of my beads. I'll pull them across so I can reach them. It might also entail using a few of my other accents and flowers, but until we get going, we just don't know. So what I'm going to do to start is, this is where, when we are doing basic cards, I like to grab the card and I like to lay my paper on top, and I like multi-layering also on cards. So I want to leave a base, and I'm going to mark my paper line with pencil. And let's get down to the workstation here. So with this on my table, I want to leave a white background, and this is where I want to grab another plain white cardstock after we cut the main base, because that's how I'm going to layer, using this print paper from the collection. So once I have that, now I'm going to go smaller, and what I'm going to do, it's either that or I want to do this. I just have to play for a minute, I think. And if I put white behind that, that just might work. This is where I have to decide, do I want to go print and print, only get from floral into the planer? This is where there's just so many options, but I do think I will go, yeah, no, I'm going to reverse that a bit. This is where I want you to realize that when you start something, it doesn't mean you can't change it. You can change it 100 times. And this is making a card then. It's basically based on the papers and the collection that you have and your accents. It has nothing to do with a sketch or anything that could go with it. Yeah, see, I'm just totally really going to do this. I'm going to mega change it up, and I'm going to recut this, and I'm also then going to put it on a white cardstock base so that I'm cutting up So I am going to put a white behind this. And this is where you can decide if you either want it really skinny or if you want it wider. And I love just folding it on top and cutting. This is where you don't have to measure everything, and you can still cut things nice and easy. Now, this is where I am going to get my inking pad, and I have a finger dauber. So I'm just going to put the coloring on the edges, especially on the print. I'm not going to do this on the white, on the prints only. So I'm glad you could join me. I see Vicky is around. Hopefully she might even play. Are you playing, Vicky, or are you just visiting? Regardless, I encourage people to come back often. And when you have a chance, I don't see anybody else popping in yet. And I left a message for the rubber buggy and was questioning the Beacon 3-in-1 glue, and to check for everybody to see if it's just out of stock, whether they're having trouble getting it, or what the scenario on the glue is. Because I'm going to need some soon too. Okay, I'm adding the ink again to this back side piece. And like I said, this card we're making, the original design, style, whatever we want at this point, is totally gauged on the paper being pulled from the collection, the possible fun print that is going to be my floral accent. And I did find a chipboard that I liked that was going to highlight that section of the paper. And doilies and pearls and all kinds of other things are always a great way to accent cards. If you are doing your own backgrounds with mixed media, paint, all kinds of things out there, then you could be doing that instead of using the print paper. So I am going to put my first color down, and you can see the inked edges look perfect. Chantel is joining us now too. Glad to see you. Now this is where I am going to pop up this section. So I'm going to get my, this is where we talked about if you do not have a foam or foam dots or pop dots, you could be taking layers of paper and gluing them together to change the height and dimension of the layers. I just happened to find this at a craft show, and it is not available everywhere. It's apparently made by 3M, and it's available in Canada. I have not researched to see if it's around in the States at all. And I'm popping that up through the center. That's perfect. Now, the next thing I want to get ready is this is where, if you do not have chipboards, it is also easy to die cut. I'm just going to grab one I have here. This one does not fit this by any means, but I just wanted to show you. If you have die cut pieces that are different sizes and shapes, actually, see, this one would fit. I could be cutting that to fit and making my own die cut shape if you do not have This is where I have to decide how pretty I want to go. I think I'm going to keep it all floral. But I kind of like that one too, because I have other pieces like that that I could add. I am going now, this is where I am going to lay it down, and I'm going to take my pencil and I am going to have to cut to the outside edge. So I'm going to get to the outside edge of the circle that I drew, and I can rub my pencil mark off. I want to have just enough edge to go underneath and hold this to the chipboard. And like I said, if you don't have things like this, then you could be working with the prints and layering, and then you could be taking accents or stickers or anything that you have that would get the job done. Okay, now I think it's just as easy for me. I'm going to glue this in the center, and I want to make sure that it is centered. So when I put the chipboard on top now, all I have to do is put the glue on the chipboard. I'm putting it around the two edges that are thicker, and a wispy one, just very thin. And it is going to go right on top. So now I have my layers going. Like I said, this one is very plain at this point. I am, however, I am going to put a run of glue around the outside of this one. And I am going to put some of my flat pearls around the outer edge. And I am going to try and add some little flowers to this one. And like I say, whatever you decide to make is absolutely fine. If you're inspired by something you see, you can either scrap lift, which means copying as close as you can get, whether it's copying identically with the paper or copying the design only or the layout of it, or totally just being inspired by color. And that's one of the learning curves of scrapbooking, whether it's doing layouts, cards, tags, is sharing and inspiring each other with every project that you make. Now I'm just trying to get that to stay there. I don't want to cut the whole bead off because it would look like I had one missing. Only you can't cut a bead in half. So there, I've now added the little bead edging, and hopefully it will dry. The one thing, and I didn't do it right away, and I should have or could have. I do. I have two doilies. This is where I can decide if I want. I'm not even going to force that issue right now. I'm going to stop for a second. And I grabbed couple different flowers because I didn't know what I wanted to work with. I grabbed some ribbons. Okay, it's these peachy ones. These are the ones I want. I'm going to grab a peachy and a blue. And I might do one big one and two little ones. And we do have a little bit of greenery going again. So I'm just going to set that aside. When you have flowers that have the green behind, make sure that it's going to show. It's fun to have that extra pop of color. I'm just going to try and bend that everything is going out the side that I want. There we go. So with this one, I'm getting lots of depth and dimension with these fabulous fun flowers. I'll just pull over a bit so you can see. There we go. So with this, you have to start with the gluing of the flower that's in the deepest back corner. And like I said, I love my glue, but sometimes you just have to hold it just long enough that it starts to catch, because it does give you the leeway of moving it just slightly. Just remember, whatever you create never can be wrong. There are no mistakes in scrapping or creating. Everything you do is a personal project inspired either on your own or with others. And there is no right or wrong way. And even if you make slight mistakes, just remember, nobody knows if you don't tell them. There are so many times something minor happens and you do not throw it away. You just fix it to the best of your ability and totally enjoy what you did. So basically, I'm going to hold that for a second. I am going to go to my little accents that I have here, because I do not have my Cricut set up to cut and do what I would like for sentiments today. So what I'm going to do is use something off this sheet. And I'm just looking for some cool, fun, got one option. I'm just waiting until I pick one and then I'll share with you. I'm going to see how this goes. I think that'll be perfect. Now, I don't know about you, but even chipboard with glue or stickers with glue, I have had some that did not hold. So I have to tell you, I am not a truly trusting of the glues that are on some of the products. So I always add some of my own glue. So, like I said, this is still what I call a fairly simple card, only because it's layer on layer on layer. It's using just your paper. the paper that was cut and added to fit behind the chipboard. I added the fun. Oh, I think I am going to have to go back in here and steal that one bead off. Yeah, I'm going to take one bead off. It's going to be back behind my flower because it's stretching itself so tight. There. This is where, if I had thought of my flowers first, I wouldn't have had to try and make it go where I didn't want it in the first place. But it's back, it's down, it's fixed. And I picked the beautiful sentiment for the bottom. This could be an anniversary card, a birthday card, a friend card, a dear mom, Mother's Day, all kinds of fabulous options. And like I said, that is just pulling basic flowers and accents and paper and using a paper collection that had the great mix of papers to be doing some layering. So with that one done, I'm going to set it over there. And I wanted to grab, just a minute, somewhere in all this. This is where I was trying to pull a couple things from collections. And like I said, I had found my Mintay collections and had shared them with you earlier. And on the Mintay Lady collection, these are also fabulous for doing cards. And I have yet another fabulous floral chipboard in Tekturka die cut chipboard is from Laser O Love, and this one is from the Rubber Buggy. And I thought it would be beautiful if I do it highlighting this fabulous, beautiful section on this collection. Yeah, you just have to be very careful when you take chipboards off. This one is Lasero LA 19421. So LA 19421. It's really, really pretty. And what I was looking for when I was pulling for this one was the stunning, elegant, soft, because they will be perfect. Oh, that is going to be awesome. Now I just have to pick which one I want. I think I'd like one with a bit of color. That's very soft and getting lost, but it might not be too bad if I can put the very dark green in the background. So that I might test doing. I'm just going to dig to the bottom here, because I do have the print and the plain in this collection. And this is where I think if we put that behind, I think it will still highlight it enough that I will like it. Either that or, no, I'm back to, yeah, I still like the original. I haven't changed my mind. So this is where you get to cut these and work with the paper. So as you can see today so far, the first two things that I've been working with, I have been really highlighting and working with the collection in the paper. Now this one, I am going to grab the rectangular base that I have. Give me a second. I'm just going to check if anybody is, what we do have, excuse me. I'm going to take 2 seconds and just stop because I have to scroll. Vicki is just watching, and Janet has joined us. Foam tape, I'm from Florida. Chantel is from Florida. And we have Belinda from Washington State, paper crafter. And Carolyn is fussy cutting. She loves making cards. Well, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want to hear. Let's get back where you can see what I'm working on down here. Okay, so for this one, like I said, I'm going very soft in color, and the chippy is very soft. Now, this is where I am going to take a second and I am going to draw around it again so that I can hand cut the outer edge away. And where it's very floral, I'm not going to worry quite the same. What I'm after is getting this oval. So I'm going to trace on the outside of this one. And I'm just putting little marks because I want to follow. It's very hard to see the line. Oh, I think it's way down. I'm going to do the upper section. Oh, there it is. The light pencil in the print is very hard to see. Now what I'm doing is I didn't cut this side yet because I want to make sure that this is going to fit. And I might have to cheat just a little. I'm going to come up again with my scissors. And this is where I'm just going to go behind a portion. Whoop, it's moving, fell off on me. So I need to hold it again. And I just guessed where to cut because this is so see-through and delicate. But I think it's going to be okay. And the main thing then is I am going to take the glue and just do it very close to this edge without going into the section that is not going to be on the paper. And I'm going to set it on top and make sure that my little oval edging is sitting on top of the paper. And this is where, like I said, it gets a little sticky on your fingers. Somewhere in here, I also had, and totally disappeared. That's okay. But I have glue oozing a little bit, so I am just going to, this is where you need to be patient once in a while. And as you can see, it's very soft and subtle, and that's why soft and subtle isn't jumping. But if we put soft and subtle on top of the very dark section, I think it will highlight the finished section. I'm going to lay that down there. And this is where, again, I'm going to go to the very dark section. I was going to cheat and grab some of the muted section, but it is so soft in color where the chippy in the image is, that I want to make sure it's going to jump off of the colored section. And the green is very dark, but I'm going to check when I'm done cutting this. Yeah, it's very dark, so I am not even going to ink. I'm not going to ink the edges on the very dark color. Sometimes if there's white between the dark colorings, it just jumps and it is kind of an eyesore. But for this one, it seems to be fine. This is where I play, and I do not love the doily. It's okay, but it's not what I want. So now this is where I am going to take a second, and I'm going to go back into the back end of this coloring stuff. And I am going to take a gander at the photo frames, because it might be very nice. I think I'm going to try the floral and the white frame. And this is where I'm not going to use, I'm not sure if I'm going to use the full outer frame or just the inside, the frame where the flowers are. And this is where I just start with what I maybe might want. Oops, trim the other side. And what I was thinking, now this is where I'm just going to show you. There's, with the photo frame shoved in the back, and I should do the inking, but this is so soft and elegant, and this is more grungy. I think I'm going to cut the actual grungy part off and leave just the pretty frame. This is where you don't know until you see it, and you might even like it, and I don't. It's personal preference, and like I said, there's never a wrong way. It's all designed by you, and everybody has their own taste. That's the fun part of it. That also is part of what makes it fun, when we get to share things, and sometimes it inspires somebody and another time it doesn't. And it's no insult to you as a crafter. It's just personal preference. There we go. I do like that better. Okay, and now that this is drying a bit, I have a little bit of paper sticking out further than I like, but now that it's dried, now you can go back and just cut just that little smidge off. Not even a lot. I'm just going to grab some of my little pearl things here. I want to just see. I don't even know if I'm going to like that, but I'm going to cut it and look at it. I might absolutely hate it when I have a look. that I was just looking at if I could showcase it. And where's the last cut? Right there. And this is where sometimes I add one extra bead and I cut it off if I have it wrong, just in case I want to move it. And I am not sold on that. I am also not sold on what I totally see. So what I'm going to do is take a look again and see if there is another accent for this one, for a that might be cute. Just trying to lay this out and see what space I have, because I'm kind of like, I do like that. That will do. Now this is where I am not popping up. I have enough depth and dimension in my little chippy accent for this one. So I am going to glue that down and get this piece ready. And like I said, these first two projects that I did, I went to my stash of paper and to my accents, and I went to paper collections that had some mix and match options, and also had the fabulous fun piece, whether they're journal cards or accent pieces for your projects. Yeah, I don't mind that. That's pretty good. I'm not sure I like the size of that flower, but I'm going to take a look and just peek. I have a little green one left. I don't have that fun shade that I like. I might have to actually, that's not bad. This is where I didn't like the flower. I'll put the glue on and then I'll show you. This is where you can't tell until you play. I didn't know if I liked it up there. I didn't think I wanted it down here. And then I kind of like it dead center. And it's going to be highlighting the chippy up and down with the beautiful center. And we're kind of working from corner. And I did find this really cute little banner type, Be Yourself. And this could be a birthday card, or a friend card, or a hello, how are you doing card. There is just so many options for you. I'm not ready to complete this quite yet. I'm just going to hold the beads. No, don't even want beads. I have actually, this is where I'm just going to grab. Give me 2 seconds. I love the Signal white gel pens. I have some of both. Yeah, I have. Anyway, the white gel pens are awesome for adding lines and just detailing something a little bit that is a little heavy sometimes. And I'm going to doodle a bit in here and a bit in here so it's opposite corners. And I often just grab my little ruler. I have to make sure that, I like to make sure and test that the ink or the gel. I haven't used them in a while. I hope that they're not almost out or empty. There's another one. I always have a couple of them on the go. But like I said, you have to be. They also help. Well, that one's starting to work. It also helps when you put them in upside down. I had them all standing up the other way. So hopefully we'll get enough of the white gel. So now what I like to do, I'm going to turn it so I can see. Now when I do white gel, I also like to often do 2 runs. It just softens what can be very dark and harsh. Yeah, it's starting to come out much better now. So I'm just going to tip it up and share. So you can see I softened the corners by just using a white gel pen. And the popping now of the pretty image and the chipboard on the darker color are perfect. And I love that I could grab a frame with some flowers to soften up in the corner. Everything kind of flows from one corner to the other. Okay, so basically this one is the second one we did. And like I said, the combinations today were to get the papers with accenting papers and also accents and some flowers because I have flowers and the colors are perfect. But like I said, there is nothing mega hard. You just have to learn how to pull papers that coordinate and layer them. Okay, so with that done, now this is a sample of what we want to do next, and I thought it would be fun to do a card base that maybe some of you haven't done. For those card makers, maybe you've done it all the time. Hello, hello. We have fun people popping in just to see us and say hello, hello. So here's a sample, and it's not that hard, except we are going to cut a piece that will flop out and also go to the inside. So you have your core, your little flop, which is half, it's actually a little more than half, And then we have the fold over section. And we are going to make the whole thing, cut all the pieces, because we are going to layer paper in the background, and this will go on top of, and then we can decorate that from here to here, and everything coordinates together. So this is where I am going to just give you measurements and cut accordingly. And what we're going to do, like for this one, I'm grabbing just a sample of, this is the size for my envelope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a white cardstock and I'm going to cut straight across on my cutter. So I am just going to lay it down and cut the full part, because I'm going to do it bigger. As you can see, it is bigger, which is fine. So I am, as I want this fold over piece, I am going to fold this now and lay it down. This is where you just have to have fun. So decide what size you want. And I wanted a little more than half, so I'm going to put that over there. And I'm just going to mark with my pencil. Say basically my base is measuring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5 by 1, 2, 3, 4 by 5. So 5 by 6.5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and a bit. So I just marked where I'm going to cut. So there is my base with the flap over. And like I said, you just adjust that to fit whatever you are going to be using for an envelope. Now I want to have this here, I want to fit almost the full size. So I am going to estimate that size and then cut it on the double so I have a fold over. So I am just going to grab this here piece, okay, that is not half. I'm going to grab myself another piece of white. There, so I have white, and I wanted it to go inside, and I want it to fold here, and I want it to be this wide. So all I did was I figured out the width and the length. So I marked the length and the width here, and I am going to cut straight across and then fold it. Oops. Just make sure I'm cutting the right end. There we go. I almost put it in sideways. That happens once in a while. Okay, so I'm cutting straight across. And this is where I had my markings. So I am going to fold it. And you can either hand cut or you can cut with your paper trimmer. And it's just a little crooked. There we go. So here is my inside piece, and I'm just going to test it. This is where I'm going to lay it so that it's centered when it's closed, and when it opens, this goes this way and this goes this way. And then we basically have our card here, and the edge and around is pretty even, which is good. So now this is where you can start from the back or the front or whatever. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find what I want up front first, and I'm going to work my way backwards and just see what I'm left with. So now we want to find another fun group of paper. And this is where you want to be having fun. I'll show you again the one that's here. And I just coordinated a fun scene with kites and bikes and did the fun pop of color. And everything is just coordinated perfectly, and I love it. So I'm going to start with my front. And since I have so many fun papers with beautiful prints, I really, really do like all these great colors. I just have to decide which one I want to go with. And I have one that I didn't open. I kind of like that. And I kind of like this. Can you tell I kind of like it? Now this has some great scene sections. I'm going to see what they look like. Okay. I'm going to work. Now this is where, when I have these amazing prints and you don't always know how to use them or what to do, and you have great backgrounds on them, I want this section on my front. So I am going to take the part that opens, and this is my front, and I am going to lay it exactly I'm laying it exactly where I want it. There we go. So I am going to move it over, and I am going to trace again. All this fun tracing so that you can use whatever portion of the paper. I've got it all traced, and I'm now going to cut it. And just remember, there's no bad size or shape to this one. You basically just start with something that fits in an envelope, and we're making the piece in the inside fit to what we want to fit in our envelope. I love it. Now, the only thing I did wrong there is I cut exactly what size I need. And I don't want to lose what's, yeah, I'm going to use my paper cutter now, and I'm going to cut the same amount off of every edge because I still want that centered. So I am going to go half. I'm doing a sliver, just a sliver of paper, the same on all four corners. And it should still have left the image that I wanted. It does. There's my image I wanted to for the front. I'm going to ink it because it doesn't show. It's either that or I have to decide now, which I still might have to do, is grab some more of this very dark green. And if I cut the piece of green, I might have to size this again one more time smaller. And like you see, what I started with isn't what I'm going to be left with. This is where you have to just have fun. So I want this one. This one now fits what I thought I wanted. And it is going to go and show the white behind. And I'm now going to say one more time, and I'm going to cut that same edging. Whoop. Whoa, there we go. So I'm cutting all four corners again, all four sides. And almost the same identical amount. I'm not measuring, I'm just using my eye. And I'm going to put it on top again. And we have it again. And see how it pops now? The white in this was too close, but with the very dark edging now, it's perfect, and I love it. And because it's white on the dark, I am going to put the inked edges again. This is where I never know if I'm going to ink until I see it. I don't predetermine inking. I always look to see what it looks like first. I don't, some people ink absolutely everything, whether it needs it or not. That I don't do. And like I told you, when I'm inking, I like a standard vintagey shade of brown. And it usually works with almost every coloring I have. Okay, and I want that off to the side. This one, I'm gluing this on. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I cut absolutely every piece. And you've seen me, if you follow me, where I paper clip everything together. And if I want to change my mind, I do. But I'm kind of really liking this. And I'm going to, okay, now just a sec. I'm going to pop this up. Now the one thing I didn't mention, if you are mailing cards and you're doing all this pop-up, it could cost you a fortune. So a lot of times if I'm mailing a card to somebody and I know it before I start, I don't do as much pop-up because every thickness going through the mail slot costs you money. It becomes weight, size, and thickness, and sometimes by the time you're done, it's a little more than you would want to spend on a card. Hand-delivered cards, however, I will make them thicker and it doesn't matter. Okay, make sure it's going, and make sure your opening goes open on this right side. And it has to be centered so the white shows all around. So it opens on this side, and there is the piece that I wanted. And it's going, this is where I'm going to hold this in there again. There we go. So that's gorgeous. And I love all the white. Now this is where I'm going to take a second and I'm going to look what I want to do next, because this shows here and here and here. And this is where it opens yet. So whatever I'm doing still has to come up here, and then the inside can be different. But what's here and here has to coordinate. I might have a different print to there and a full print or whatever behind. So I think this might be really crazy. Just let me, I found my one piece of chippy board floating around, sticking to stuff. There we go. This is where I'm going to take a chance and just go like this. And I think I am going to go with just this fun piece. And this is where now I'm not going to glue. I'm going to cut and find some of my paper clips and decide if I'm going with what I like when everything is now cut. The only thing I knew for sure was the front. Okay, so I saw some paper clips around here. My desk is such a mess with all this stash that I got out. It's all over the place. Okay, so I am going to put this here and this here. There we go. So I paper clipped it so I can see whether I like it. Now I'm going to work, this back piece is an all solid right across the whole thing. So I'm going to open everything up, and at this point, okay, this is where I'm going to leave this sit in here, and I'm going to lay something underneath. Now this is where I have to decide. I really, really, really love the flowers. Yeah, I'm not sure that that's doing exactly what I like. I might like the flowers on the inside. I am going to take a look. You have to remember what we're going to see now is going to open into the whole inside of the card. So for now, I'm just going to go like this. Not sure. But if I don't cut it, let me just peek. That might be really pretty. And this might be really pretty, or those flowers. I'm going to try it. This is where I'm now going to trace. Like I said, this section I'm tracing and cutting. And if I decide I don't love it, I'll have to look for something else and cut it. But it doesn't matter at this point. And like I said, it isn't that this one is super hard. It's just that it has a few more pieces to it. And you kind of have to play with your papers a little bit. And I love that. I just have to see. Now there's where I can test whether I love that. Because this didn't even show until I just did this. That might be perfect. What do you think? Because the other way, let me show you why I cut it first, is to have that part in there. And it's not bad. Let's do a poll. Anybody that's still there, I'd like your opinion. Let me just move this up so I can see and read. Which collection is that? Well, I'm actually playing with two of them. Suntastic and Lady, I think. Yeah, no, this is the Mintay Suntastic. Okay, so do you love that combo? Or do you love this combo? If you are there still watching, say yes, no, orange or print. So that's the orange and that's the print. Which one do you like? I think I love that one. my original. But does anybody like it with the orange? I think I still kind of like that. It's still kind of soft and elegant. Okay, now when I open my card, I think I'm going to put something on the back. The first. You mean this one, Vicky? Or are you saying you like this one? That's with orange. Orange. Or print. Okay, so on the inside, yeah, no, I kind of like that. And what I wanted from this one. I think it'll be pretty just to have some really, really cute flowers on the inside. Okay, and see, I think I'll go with the floral print then on the inside. Now I'm going to only be decorating one side inside because on the other side I want the verse. And this is where I'll have to decide. And back to that, do I do just the print or should I put the very dark green again behind it so it pops? And I'm going to cut it both ways probably so I can see which way I like. Okay, so this might work. I'm going to try both. Yeah, I think I like it with the edging. Of course I do. This is why I said, never worry about changing your mind. This is also why scrapping together is so much fun. You can show your friends, take a vote, change what you're doing, fix it, alter it. It's fun when you scrap together. Crops are amazing fun. I don't always get everything done that I plan because I have so much visiting time. But at the end of the day, I had a great time and I would do it again. Okay, so I'm back to inking. Like I said, I don't even know if this card has a name to it. I guess it would maybe be an inside fold of some kind. Sometimes I have a name for things, sometimes they don't. I might have named it and just don't remember. And let me just check here. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to, I guess I should tip that again so you can see what I'm doing. And for all those just popping in, I have left Kelly a message to check on my favorite beacon glue, both for myself and for everybody that has been playing along with me. So we know what's happening. And when she knows there's a few of us that are interested, hopefully she can get enough in for us all. Okay, and like I said, I definitely am, oops, there's the front. So I want to put this on this side. Okay, give me 2 secs. Started to put a bit of ink, or glue, sorry, on this side. So make sure when you're doing the inside of the card that you're leaving the back side. So it's open here. When you open it, this is the inside of the card, and that's, I'm going to put my verse on this side. Okay, now I have just have so many things in my bag of goodies right now. And I have my good light on top of my table. And when I look down on the floor, I don't see so well. I do not see. There it is. It fell way below. For anybody that has never had one, there is such a thing as an ink or a glue rubber. It just means if you let a bit of glue dry, you sometimes can rub it off. And this glue in particular, the beacon, does rub off. You can feel it with your fingers and then rub. There we go. Okay, so we are back to looks great, open, decorated, and okay, this way, decorated, and the verse, and inside. Now this is where, if I want to decorate over here, I want to check if I did on this one. No, I didn't. So whether you want to or not, you could decorate there, and everything's done except that. But for now, I'm going to go back to inking the edge. Like I said, I'm so thrilled to be back and scrapping and visiting and doing live videos with all my friends. Okay, and this is the bottom. There we go. So this was Mintay Suntastic that I'm mostly using for this card. And it's absolutely fabulous. The colors are rich, elegant, soft, so cool. And has the bold finishing green and orange accent papers. That's awesome. So there's my inside. I love it. I'm going to ink this one, and I now can glue it. Like I said, I didn't glue this one until I knew what I was doing with the rest. And that's when you just get your paper clips out and paper clip everything, fold it together, and see what you like. Okay, so centered, white showing, and this is going to get centered See, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to try there. Let me see what it looks like. Oops. Just a sec. Okay. When I'm doing the inside part that I'm putting in, I am going to close it and I am going to center it according to the front. It's very good on the inside. It's just a little off, but not a lot. But I prefer, okay, this is where, with this closed, I am going, see, I want to do this. There we go. I want to lay it. I'm closing the whole thing and I'm just sliding it. I'm looking at the edge here and the edge on the other side and the top and bottom. And I like the way that looks. Whoop. So we have a beautiful card. And you just size it to fit in your envelope. And you will open and open and have your verse. This is gorgeous. This is still pretty. And the colors from front to back, because you used the same collection, all mix and match so perfectly. And I haven't decided on this one. I have to think, who would I send it to and what would I like it to say on the outside? And that would be kind of cool. I don't love that. Well, I know that I want to give it to somebody else. And I can't decide if it's birthday or a celebration or just a hello. But, just a second, I got too much glue right there. Give me a second. And I found this one. And it says, you matter, whoops, there we go. You matter the most. And I kind of like that. So there is our cards for today. I hope you had fun. I'm just grabbing all mine. So we did fabulous, fun, just layered with kits and collections that layer the colors. They had fabulous, great pieces to be cutting and centering in chipboard. We did pop-up, we used flowers. And then for the final one, we did the super fun, different flap, not too hard. Everybody should be able to make it. And we have an amazing collection of cards from today. And when you're done, and when you make cards, do me a favor, come back in. Even if you didn't follow this, if you weren't inspired by these, but you made some cards, come in and share and let us be inspired by your work. And watch again soon. Now that I'm back scrapping and having so much fun, I hope to visit you often. But like I said, I want to see your finished work. Please share. So have a great day, be safe, and it's Bev from the Rubber Buggy.